Hey, this is Steven from the Green Engineers, and welcome to my update video on the Multistruder. Today we are going to be giving you an update on the Spooler Module, and I'm going to show you how it works. On this piece right here, there's actually two parts. There's a Spooler Module and then there's a Winder Module. So I'll show you guys how the spooler currently is up to date and working. That's ready to go. The winder itself still needs a little bit of work, and so you'll get an update on that in about a week's time, a week to 2 weeks. So this is what this guy looks like, as you can see here. So this here is a spooler module, this piece here, and down here is going to be the winder module. This is the current version I have. It might change for the winder module. So I'm going to show you guys how this works and how this drives the spool to wind up your filament. So here is a spool, and this is going to be about 11.25 minutes. Pretty much all my updates are going to be 11 and 20 seconds, 11 minutes and 20 seconds. So this is what I call a drive cone, and this part is what's in here inside of the spool. And basically how this works is it has a input shaft there with a little D on it. And so that slips into over top of the shaft of the drive motor, and this is a 10,000 RPM drive motor with a gear reducer to increase the torque, and this goes from about 10,000 RPM down to about 5. So this is a very high torque. This has a lot of torque to pull that filament out. And why this is tapered like this is that this allows you to use multiple different types of spools. So basically what happens is this guy will go into your spool like so, and as you see it tapers, so it will allow you to work with different hole sizes of the spool, and it just fits in there like that. So this system requires two of these guys, and they're identical except for the other drive. The other cone is a driven cone, and it just has a hole through it. And then the other important part is that at the top it has a brass insert, and this is a quarter-inch bolt, 20 threads per inch insert, brass insert that's super glued in there, and that allows this threaded rod to go through, and I'll show you why that threaded rod is needed. So the threaded rod will thread into this side, so this side is on the motor side, right? What does it say? This is the motor side. And so this all thread will go through another drive cone, the driven cone. So this is the drive cone, and then there's a driven cone, which you'll see right here. And the driven cone just has a hole through it, and so basically it looks identical to this. It's tapered. But this is the driven cone. The final version of the driven cone will have cork, which is a natural, eco-friendly material. Super glued onto it. This is just hand cut. The final version will be laser cut circle. This allows it to be increased of friction, so increased friction against this guy, so I could have more torque before this guy slips. So basically what happens is, let's say this is the drive cone and this is the driven cone. Obviously, like I said, the driven cone has a hole through it, and then this brass insert's on the other side. So you insert the all thread, this bolt basically without a head, the bolt without a head on it. You insert it through, you thread it through this, and it threads through, and it goes in between the spool hole and threads into this until it bottoms out, until it tightens. And then you basically twist this guy until it tightens around the spool, and the spool is taut so it won't slip. As you see right now, I've already done that. You can see now that it is now tight, right? And that sound that you're hearing is the backlash in the gears. That's what that movement is. But that's not a problem for our application. So this has an all thread, and this one also has an all thread here. Again, this is the driven cone, this is the drive cone. So this guy sits stationary on the motor, and then you tighten this guy with your hand until it's taut on this guy, until it's tight. Then now the motor has traction onto this guy and will actually be able to rotate and pull it. And by using this system, you could use any spool It'll work on any spool, and it will auto-center. It will automatically center the spool onto the shaft. So it's always concentric with respect to each other. Then to make sure it doesn't loosen, we're gonna put just a washer with a wing nut just to tighten, just to make sure that this guy does not back out. Then here inside this guy right here, there's a bearing that's right behind my finger here, that's in between this piece here. There's a bearing in there, and then this guy slides into the bearing, and it also is going to have a brass threaded nut in there, and this guy basically supports the shaft as well, so it's supported on this side as well as this side. So that's how that works. So this guy is also supporting the shaft. As you can see, very little movement. Oh, sorry about that sound. My niece is over there on her swing. So as you can see, it's supporting the entire, it's helping to support the weight of this arm, of this whole assembly on both arms, especially when there's going to be weight in the spool. So I'm going to show you guys how it attaches to the machine. So that's how that works. I'll show you guys it driving. I won't show you guys taking it apart because it takes a while to put it back together. But I mean, you can see the whole thing here. You can see the all thread going through. It threads through the driven cone, threads into the drive cone until it's tight, and then you screw this guy tight, and then you have the wing nut on there to make sure it doesn't back out, and you could keep the tension there. So it attaches to the machine through this interface right here. So there's a big hole for the main tube of the multi-extruder to go through, as you can see there. So this hangs on the machine. And now what you have is you have this bracket right here, and this bracket has cork glued on the inside, and it is clamped down, and it adds support onto the shaft, as you can see there. It does have a little bit of back and forth movement, but other than that, it doesn't have anything else. It won't slide down. And then that guy slides into here, and then you have two bolts like so. They go down through and bolt on the bottom down here. They bolt in through these holes. And what that allows you to do is that allows you to get a little bit of adjustment according to getting this piece, which is a part of the winder module, to get the filament to line up right at the bottom of this guy, and it will go through this pulley and then come back up and then go through the winder and then be wound up on the spool. So, and then after that's done, after it's all mounted here like that sort of, then it goes into the foot and it slides into the foot, and then the foot is bolted to a board, or you have it hanging from a wall and you have this bolted to the rest of the multi-extruder. So I have just enough time to show you guys it running and put some pressure on the spooler itself to see if it will lock up. It won't, but just to show you. Right here I just have a crude assembly here to power it, and these guys like to slip off very easily, just like that. So I'm going to see if I can get it to stay. One like that. And this one will go underneath. And another one like that. I'll go ahead and plug it in. Oops. This is so there you can see it running. And you can see that it has a lot of torque. And this is only a 1.3 amp power supply. but in total I'm only going to be giving the motor about 1 amp. So you can see there that it's got a lot of torque. It's going to be perfectly fine for pulling out that filament and making sure it stays to size. And as you can see, my drive and driven cone are working perfectly to keep tension on the spooler, on the spool itself, and not let it slip. So it's working perfectly. And there you can see that's no load, and you can see that it's supported here. You can see this guy's turning inside the bearing, and everything's supported and working very, very well. So that's basically it for that. Alright guys, so that was the 11 and a quarter minute update on where we are right now. Everything is going to be going together smoothly. So thanks for watching guys, and stay tuned for my next update. Take it easy. Peace.